Hello, welcome. This feels a bit artificial and weird, doesn't it?
Yes.
So for most people that wouldn't know, we've known each other for over 10 years.
Yes, 10 years, as long as I've been here. My first job in Australia.
Yeah.
Or a few dodgy ones to start.
So there was a bit of conjecture, actually. Let's go into that a bit, right? So there was a bit of conjecture around us taking you from, because you were part of a larger group.
Yeah, part of a larger group.
Working in a small business unit.
And a customer service role.
Ruffled a bit of feathers for me pinching you.
Yeah.
Put a target on our backs and we had to try and make it work from there. But I think, mate, like if I think back around having enjoyment and success, specifically in that place, I had a lot of success there. But that small gap where we worked together, that like 1.5, 2 years, that was just
about a year then we sort of knew of each other, and then a year of working together. I think it was a point anyway, made me like, obviously probably one of my first good friends, best friends in Australia. It started off as work. I looked up to you and moved across and worked under you, but we had a lot of fun, and it really taught me that I suppose you can only realizing this now, but you can have fun along the journey as well. Yeah. And it probably made us both realize that, we moved on to separate things and stayed in touch. Yeah.
I think making that transition for us from, boss, subordinate, that kind of relationship to mates happened real quickly for us.
Yeah, 100%.
But I think part of that, like now, that probably wouldn't work in a business that you own. But I think when you're working in a business, that kind of dynamic, when you're both kind of young, bulletproof.
100%. Yeah, you're in your 20s, in your late 20s, you're still learning. So you're getting maturity there, but also, you get a bit of, you get a bit of an opportunity to sort of, spin your wheels and learn and test and grow, and people see that. And I think the economy was good then, obviously different than now, not to be morbid, but things were good. I remember 10 years ago, 11 years ago when I arrived, it was really robust. The country, there's lots of opportunities. The company then was in a really good place, a big growth stage. And then, being similar age, it's similar interests, which we'll get to in a moment. And then your now wife, having an Irish background as well, helped. So, we had some fun.
Yeah, so take me through that for people that don't know, right? To a larger extent, with a lot of events and stuff like that you've emceed, people have heard kind of the story of Kyle Rogers. But take us through a little bit about the logic around transitioning from Ireland, making the decision to come over here, obviously doing the couch surfing with Sarah. That's fun to talk about as well. Yeah. So give us, the quick elevator picture on what happened and how you arrived.
Yeah, a bit of a go-getter type of guy. Met my now wife on couch surfing. Not a lot of people know that story. I'd finished up a degree. I managed to get somehow first-class honours in transportation logistics in Belfast. But I used this story in the past and haven't spoken about it much since. My old man, I'm a potato farmer, potato merchant's business, the youngest of 5. Left Ireland, fell in love, took that degree with me, wanted to study that, and took that into the industry where I met you and had different roles and various levels of success over the past 10 years, and more on that later. But I suppose for me, one thing I wanted to get across in this podcast is not too much about work stuff, more about the journey of Kyle and myself and different stages of growth and post-traumatic growth that I've gone through, particularly in the last few years, is I kind of carried this sort of stigma or chip on my shoulder, excuse the pun, because we make chips.
The irony's not lost on me about an Irish person.
We distribute chips, blanched chips, half-cooked chips.
Yummy. And you had what was your dog's name?
Chip and Buddy, two separate. Chip and Buddy.
Chip Buddy. You can't write this
so, shit. So, people say sold snow to the Eskimos, sold potatoes to Irish people. So, there you go, sell that. But for me, I carried this sort of, I don't know what the right word is, but, thing on my shoulder of I need to make my dad proud, because he was 19 when I passed, got here at 23, and it was almost like I can remember him speaking to me like, education, manners are easily carried, you can, logistics is everything, blah, blah. And I used to speak a lot about this in conferences and on LinkedIn and write articles about it, as some people may see, visit my profile because they're pinned and starred. But it was almost like I tried to become somebody that I wasn't, like a potato farmer, always had to work hard, drive forklifts when I was young, rough and ready type of guy, but I almost felt that I needed to prove to myself and to him, who, he's dead, obviously still got to respect that, but I carried this, I need to be someone, not famous, but like be known in the industry. And, I went way too hard. Yeah. I used that story, it helped me build a network, but which we'll get into later, it led me down a dark path, and majority of that my own doing. And I kind of realized, during that really dark period, that if I felt my dad could give me some advice, it would be, I don't care if you're Lindsay Fox or Paul Little or one of these big, logistics or some tech guru, just be a good motherfucker.
Yeah,
100%. Be a better father, be a better husband, be a better person.
We might get that as a vinyl on the walls inside the new office here.
Be a better motherfucker.
Just be a good motherfucker. It'll help.
But yeah, I mean that, honestly, it's taken me a long time to say that. So rather than be part of the problem, now I'm trying to be part of the solution. So I've been doing a lot of work on myself over the past few years, and all good things take time. So look, that's a bit long-winded. I'm sure the guys can chop that up, but I think I came here with a dream and a vision, wanted to be something, but quickly became someone that I wasn't raised to be. And now I'm, slowly trying to put that genie back in the bottle and undo all my past mistakes.
Well, I think that there is some secret sauce in you, right? So one of the key things that I saw when you started with me back, what was it, 2017, something like that? 2016, 2017, was that, aside from probably having to have subtitles in some of those new business meetings, because people were like, what is this guy? So they're just nodding and being polite. I'm like, just get the data and let's get it out of here. But, the secret sauce to you was kind of like a relentless, I don't want to, I'm not going to fail.
Yeah.
So like people with exponential talent will always get beaten by people that are hard workers.
Yeah.
Right. You can work yourself into being successful. And that's something that I saw special in you. And I think that you never really lost that. Now, obviously you've had a bit of a black patch, but you'll bounce back. You're Kyle, right? And one of the reasons why, not that I forced you to do this, but I fucking peppered you into doing it really, was that I think that, you've got so much to add from an advice perspective on somebody, although we're quite young still, like we're on the right side of 40, both of us, but because we've had so many different roles and so many different businesses, it feels like I've worked 2 life cycles already. Like starting in a business that was 20 or 30 mil, and then leaving when they were 400 or 500 mil. Going to a smaller business when they're 20 mil, they're going to do 100 mil this year, and then now going out and doing my own, taking investment from a $500 million tech business and having those kind of perceived pressures as well. I think that, a lot of people don't have that in their entire life cycle of their 100%. Working life. And you're the same, going through a
lot of people only see the good and the flash, and that's something that we want to portray. I don't speak for myself, but I wanted to portray that on LinkedIn. I wanted to portray that in bravado of how I dress or cars or whatever. But, like an iceberg, a lot of people don't see is the, blood, sweat and tears and, relationships that suffer, your health that suffers, your mental health that suffers, which is, being a lot, a bit ubiquitous now. A lot of people talking about it, which is good. I think it's still Men's Mental Health Month this month. But on that though, since we're on the topic, tell us a bit about what you're doing now, Sparrow business. Sparrow is that you've created, that you've birthed almost, and
so obviously we're at HQ today, so welcome. This is your first time here. I know we hung out yesterday, watched the McGregor fight, which we'll talk about in a second as well, but I think that this is kind of an actualization of all of the shit that I've been working on for the past 15 to 20 years. So, I've been really fortunate to have really good mentors over the journey, some really, really good and some really, really not so good, which, happens. Everyone that's listening to this podcast that knows where we're from probably knows who we're talking about, but we won't get into that. But, seeing what good looks like to me is actually almost as important as seeing what bad looks like. Because you can lean into that good, you can sort of carve out that good and do it in a way that makes sense to you and what makes sense to the way that you are able to deliver it, because not everyone's the same. But for me, I was really, I had a great time at Bolt Group where I was previously, and I love the boys. I love Locke and Ty and those and Joshy and the boys down there. But for Locke, who's a really good friend of both of ours, to kind of read the room and really push me to say, mate, you've got that thing in you where you probably shouldn't have a boss. You probably shouldn't have a leash. Fly. Go and soar, man. So for him to really push me, and I was at a point in that business where it was getting pretty close to, certain things happening from an equity standpoint. And Josh, Ty and Locke were really supportive on the way out and making sure that I had all of the hallmarks to be successful. But really for me, it was like, okay, well, now that I've taken that jump, let's do something that is wild compared to what else is out there. So you look at the old form, traditional, even general transport carriers, they all kind of, obviously they're all different colours. Some are really, really good to deal with and work with. Like I've got obviously my favourites, as everyone does, but unfortunately they're incumbent by this massive scale, which means that they can't really differentiate themselves too much. And I think the big freight brokers as well, I'll call them brokers, although we don't call ourselves brokers because we're unique, isn't everyone? But I think what we've done really well is that we separate ourselves with, releasing that machine inside the business at the start. I'm trying to like pull that out a bit now because we're obviously getting a little bit bigger.
Well, one thing a lot of people don't know about you is have known you, like I say, quote unquote salespeople or business development. Just on that is like, I always struggle with that title of salesperson, but as you get through life, you realize, businesses don't survive without salespeople. So even our, say, prospects or people, supply chain logistics managers or whatever, or people across the journey in anything, they all have salespeople trying to grow their business, which keeps them in a job. But and this is a compliment to you, one thing that you trump me in with the majority of things is your executional skills, your ability with numbers, your ability with data, your ability with UX, customer experience, your ability to actually get down and do the work behind the scenes, not just always out there. Obviously doing a lot of stuff on LinkedIn now, as I used to do with a former startup, but you can do the whole package. We're a lot of salespeople, and I'd say I realized early on, probably didn't communicate well enough. I'm extremely extroverted, diagnosed ADHD. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this. That's no surprise. And
you're almost the exception now if you're not on the spectrum. Oh, you're
true.
Normal.
Yeah. Well, it's true.
Get away.
But you struggle to take compliments too. Not saying you do that, but you are unbelievable at your executional skills. I remember a few projects and things that we have worked on, but your ability to actually be like an analyst as well and actually put shit together, which a lot of good things together, but a lot of salespeople just leave that to others in the team. That's okay if they set up their team that way and go, I'm the front man, I'm the hunter, I'm going to bring something back, and here's a pipeline on how we're going to get it to A to Z or Z, depending on how you pronounce that letter.
What part of the world you're
in. So that's something that I think that's going to bode you well in this journey, and you can already see that in all the work that you're doing, and you're elevating other people along the way.
For sure. So I think that if I would say that there's a couple of people that I've worked with in the past that I would deem like freak shows. There's some that as well that we've spoken about in previous. Obviously, I just touched on Locke, who's I feel like is a bit of a freak show and being able to do all the competencies right. And that's a really rare task. But for anybody that's like coming up in the industry or that is in sales, I would really encourage them to lean into the areas that they're really uncomfortable in. Because it's only going to serve them better. Moving forward. Like I was horrible with commercials. I was terrible at school, as you probably were as well. As disruptive as I can be in the workplace, times that by 1,000 at school, because obviously you're young, all the hormones, all that shit. But I think that not being able to concentrate on a specific thing. What has really helped me is if I top loaded myself with all the other components that went into that sales process, I would then get distracted with the other components of the sales process that would actually help me achieve that end goal. And that was kind of the unlock for me is like, how do I become a protagonist, but protagonate in all the things that are relevant to what I'm doing? And that actually then drove that common theme forward for me to be able to execute on. So appreciate the tip of the cap and the compliment. Don't do that too often because it does make me feel uncomfortable. But I think that for people that want to be successful, one of the most important things that I've found as well is trying to find a Batman to your Robin, right? 100%. And I'm really, really lucky here at Sparrow XPL, and the boys that, all the guys that work for me know that I say this, and I'm about to give a compliment to somebody that fucking hates compliments. But my CTO, Travis, we're a very good Batman and Robin combination. He's obviously a co-founder here and, built some of the really good tech that we used back in the day where we worked together. And unfortunately, I'm Robin in that situation, which I'm so comfortable with. I'll wear my underpants on the outside. I'll be boy wonder. It's all good, right? And, Travi takes us a lot of the way with, pulling my crazy crazy mind out and kind of executing on that from a standpoint. I know where we want to get to, but the journey's been wild, mate. The last 12 to 16 to 18 months. You know, I think
you got beautiful office here, so anyone out in this way in Mornington, pop in and say hello.
I just want a free new tonic in it for you.
Yeah, we'll crack one of them.
Yeah.
Haven't had one of these yet.
Yeah, they're really yummy.
Cheers.
Cheers,
you didn't look me in the eye.
Cheers, small ears.
You didn't look me in the eye. Was that romantic? It was supposed to be a play on words with its eye.
Then you got to face it at the camera. Which one?
It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. It beats smacking down a Red Bull.
Yeah. I was going to say something before I forget. Many reasons that I can forget things. I forgot. I was thinking too much about trying to say something. But I remember now. It's like, was that, piece of candy. Piece of candy. It was like a goldfish. One thing that advice that I would give, not just you, but anyone listening, is in a startup that I co-founded a number of years back. While it was great, made a number of things that I would do better. One thing is on the hiring process. I hired an unbelievable, like really, really good people, like with really good skill sets. What you mentioned, but sometimes you can find if you hire too many people similar. Do you know what I mean? There's that where I probably, in hindsight, I would hire maybe a few less and more boots on the ground and more people that complimented me. But I was just naturally, subconsciously, maybe, ADHD extrovert attracted people like that who had unbelievable skill sets, and then we're too front loaded, maybe in the sales department rather than the executional part, because I couldn't do that full back end. It's hard to admit that on camera, but maybe you needed to hire people more that complimented me.
Well, that's why I always said when we were doing those things, I said, let me just do it at a consultative basis. Because if we spend too much time together, we will then get nothing done. Like if I'm in the same office as you,
correct.
Like the amount of procrastination that would happen, and the amount of
jokes.
I'm thinking back to
the day,
like the dinosaurs and the
doing the we got some funny old footage. Everybody wants to see it from back in the day.
It's funny. But that's good advice because if I think of, I always call it stacking the court, right? And I'm trying to build my own my own little 96 Bulls. And if I think of the people that we've got on the court, I'm Scott Pippen, which I'm cool with. Travis definitely are Michael Jordan. And then if I look at the others that I've got on the court, like, Andy's pretty introverted, but also really, really bright, loves the numbers, loves doing the things that I'm good at, but I don't like doing. And then, we've got young, fresh-faced Maddie in the business that is just willing to sink her teeth into anything and like is a sponge and probably she's actually probably too bright for the role because like if I told you her ATAR score, you'd probably fall off your chair. Like she's really smart. So we're super lucky with the team that we've got. But I think for me, like the evolution of being a boss of somebody, like just to get back to the kind of the bit of the origin story was, I think everyone thought it was mad that I would manage somebody. At the start, and then when it became you, everyone was like, "Well, this isn't going to fucking work."
and it did.
It did work.
I learned more working with you, probably in up here than it did the rest of my career. So the other piece is people underestimate as well. Starting a business, growing a business is how hard it is. But I think you're doing all the right things from what I can see so far. And hiring the right people, doing it at a methodical pace, doing it slowly. And I think the age that you are now, is the right age. I was fortunate from a perspective to get that success early and raise capital from a Fortune 200 company, but I wasn't ready for it. I'll be much better equipped now, even in another 5 years. But I'd say is timing is really important. I think we were there around the right time with what we launched with COVID and whatnot, but I just wasn't ready, and I've never really said this out loud. I think we're here to be vulnerable. I am anyway, and from the work that I do with one of us, which we'll get to more later. But I think some things you just can't prepare for. I've learned the hard way, and unsure about what's next. So,
well, that journey for you, it's quite. I think whilst we're having so much success, and again, we'll probably chat more business later, but having our investor as a customer. obviously keeps us honest as well.
Yeah.
To this is what we're doing, this is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Because they're a tech business, they
it
can
helps
kind
and
of
complements what you're trying to do with AI.
The adjacency between what we're trying to deliver to customers, and they only deal with enterprise as well, which is where we want to live.
Yeah.
But that kind of keeps us sitting up straight, and I think it's really handy. Let's talk about Christmas parties.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a couple Christmas parties together at the business that we work with, not off field. There's many of those as well, but we probably won't talk about them on this podcast. So, again, probably from an advice perspective, if you're young and you're going to a Christmas party, don't break dance.
Just don't go.
Yeah, probably don't go.
Just don't go.
Yeah.
If you're like us.
Don't go.
You know. But go, but pull the pin. Pull the pin early. I think, back then you could get away with, not get away a bit more, you're having fun or whatever, having drinks.
More
I think
acceptable.
now, I think it's really tough, honestly. Yeah, can't get into it too much because you can piss people off on putting things out there, and once it's out, it's out. But it's really hard to let your hair down now, but also I've learned the hard way, not just Christmas parties, other events.
Yeah.
Goes without saying. Anyone listening to this that knows me is know your audience. I suppose it's no different than being on this podcast. If you want to get loose, don't do it at work.
Customer meetings and us going out.
Customer meetings, just in the car, chatting, going out to customer meetings, asking questions, learning. I think AFL, we were both into at the time. Conor McGregor was doing a lot better than he was yesterday.
All the belts.
And it was just a good time at that point in your career for anyone out there going through it. Try not to take go in your early 20s or mid 20s, late 20s. Try not to take yourself too seriously. I probably thought my career was shorter than it has been or it was. I think we front ended a lot, go hard too young. But I think I think it's a testament to our relationship that we stayed in touch. We spoke about before going on here, and I tried to slow my busy mind down just then, is a lot of people wouldn't put us in the same sort of bracket, quite similar in many ways and quite different in many ways too. But I think a lot of people don't know the real us. I think can speak for you, you're probably one of the most kindest, if not the most kindest people that I know, and going off script here, and there's a lot behind your armor, a lot behind you as Matt Sheen, and I hope more people get to know you that way. I hope people can feel that emanate through this podcast, which is one of the reasons I wanted to do it. You've been there for me through many periods, particularly recently through a very, very dark period, and to be honest, didn't have a great sleep last night. I've been dealing, we can transition it into the more mental health stuff, what I'm doing now with one of us. Been battling, the first time I've actually probably said this openly, other than my shrink, is probably battling for the first time in my life some serious depression. I really thought that it didn't exist, but I could get through it. I've battled, as some people know, 3 years ago, I had major brain surgery, I had my skull opened. My son had 2 cardiac arrests, 3-year-old in the same month, a few weeks apart. He survived. He spent a week in ICU. I left the business that I loved and co-founded, and there are great guys in there, Greg Weiss and some of the guys over at U-Tenant, wish them all the best. And they went through another sort of scenario with a business, which I don't want to go too heavy into today. I was in, not that one particular, but the industry. Relocated my wife and kids a few months after I had brain surgery and almost lost my son. I needed a job, relocated interstate. That led me to lean into my coping mechanism, which is alcoholism. For many out there that know me,
that's a shock for an Irishman.
Yeah, I know, but people that know me, it's been quite a public battle.
Yeah,
and it's taken me a long time to be able to have
poppy
this
as well, mate.
Yeah,
people don't want to see people that are doing well. Oh my God, he's got an Achilles heel. Let's all fucking talk about it.
And I didn't do myself any favors. And I cared too much about what people think. But unfortunately, I let down the people closest to me, and people lost trust in me. So it's something that I feel like now I've got control of. Something that I want to. It'll be a lifelong battle. For anyone out there, struggling, it's not. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to get help, to ask for help. I've been seeing a shrink for 3 years. I'm trying to exercise more again. I'm trying to realize what am I running from? When I hit the bottle. The battle with the bottle could be something. That could be the name of a podcast. I could start. But over the last 6 months, I've actually been focusing on a business partner of mine, Theo Pappas. Wherever you are listening to this, hello, I love you. Daddy. But I've really been frozen the past few months. But and we now run 2 non-for-profits, one for male businessmen, one for female business women across Melbourne and Sydney, and launched a charity arm called the One of Us Foundation, which is a employment and system program, an EAP, or we can call it a WAP, workplace. Not
that
one. On a workplace assistant program, because the EAP, can you say WAP, and an app as well, a WAP with an app,
WAP app,
and
there's one of those already.
Fully integrated for all the events, for notifications, for the psychiatrists, psychologists. I actually mentioned it earlier. I want to be part of the solution, the problem. I was definitely not the best version of myself for a number of years. I made mistakes that I'm not happy with, that I've got to live with, that I've got to carry the grave with me. And wanting to do better. I don't know what that path looks like. Logistics supply chain's given me a lot, and I'm not sure if I'm done with it yet. I've got a great network in it. We're close to 100 members across Melbourne and Sydney, but I suppose I found it really hard to come here today. Number one, just to get here. Number two, to actually be able to be open and talk about these things, because the last 6 months probably been the toughest 6 months of my life by far, despite all the shit that I've dealt with. And I try to label them as 2 parts now, black and white. Things that I can control and things that I can't control. And unfortunately, I didn't control the controllables. I think a lot of that can come, so thanks for letting me share that.
That's right.
I think
it's important as well from a self-regulation perspective. There's been a lot of things that I've invited you to over the journey that you haven't rocked up to.
Yeah.
Obviously, one was my wedding as an MC, which was a bit shit of you. Yeah. But, if you can get past that with a person. The other thing as well is that I think it was opportune for the McGregor fight because having you at my joint yesterday and like that full circle moment for me, obviously our kids have played together before, and it's beautiful to watch, but having you come yesterday, obviously not probably do what my wife expected you to do, which was have 1,000 cans with me, which is obviously would have been, to script, but making sure that you rocked up yesterday to make sure you'd rock up today was like kind of actually part of the plan. But when I saw you yesterday, I was like, I had no qualms about, I was like, he's not going to flake on me. Like he will rock up.
And you thought that the other day when
I did.
And then I'm still nursing a bit of a cold here, and not that anyone can catch it watching, but you text me, you're going to bail something. I was like, no, I was sick. I wanted to come in here on Friday, and obviously you can still hear that I've got something. I said, no, I'm going on Sunday. Take my son with me. The daughter had a play date, and they had a great time. And we watched McGregor lose.
Watching my daughter push your son around is quite validating.
Which is true.
No, but it's good. It's good to have you on, mate. As far as hosting this with me, and I think that it's more broadly important just to talk about vulnerable things, right? You know my story better than most. It's not something that I often share. Probably not comfortable even sharing it on this podcast at this point. But it's funny, when I met my wife, she thought I went to a private school. She's like all of these preconceived ideas about me.
You're a model.
Barracuda. There's so many cameras in this room, I don't feel uncomfortable whatsoever, which is probably a great representation of the fact that maybe I should be a model at some point. But, I think that my wife even had that preconceived idea. I ended up transitioning that from a prospect to a customer, luckily.
Enterprise?
Enterprise, 20-year agreement.
It's maybe because we were splitting up at that point. My name was Kyle, and then her name was Kaya. So you wanted to say
I needed
name?
to fill the void. So, but like for me, like, I think that it's almost the same. It's not the same, but it's kind of relative, right? Coming from a different country and coming over here and being successful in business is almost like coming from a shit public school and being a successful businessman. I think the people that are the most successful that I know of and have met have really come from not a huge amount. Like they fight for every deal. That I lost a deal a couple of weeks ago, which I took pretty personally. The only reason for that is that because we're in such an infancy stage,
which is important.
And it's just more that because we've got such a different voice in the market at the moment. We now have kind of seen some copycat stuff starting to happen, which we're like,
so
we
going to happen
that,
given AI and the proliferation of that. It's been around for long enough for everyone to jump on it, but I think imitation is the greatest form of flattery, as I say. And I learned a lot of lessons. I was at the hard way as well with previous business and trying to do things and getting out there. And I think believe it or not, I don't have any social media but LinkedIn. So when these videos go out, it'll actually be my first post on LinkedIn this year. So it just aligns with what I said earlier around last 6 months being the toughest of my life.
Sentence looked like it was a lot of those around me. So we're talking about the early days, going to customers, me kicking you under the table to start slowing down your speech so they actually understand you.
Stupid shit.
Or me just taking over and just fucking watch me just do what I do, but just slower. Yeah, we were in Sydney at a convention that you're at. Actually, you emceed it. You kicked it off. We won't give Corey a shout out though. He can wait. Yeah. Or Fred. So yeah, I was doing a bit of I guess a keynote sort of round table thing, and we had like a bit of a crowd there, and Trav, as I was talking, obviously there's prospects in the crowd that are kind of looking at you, watching what you're saying, and I often swear, tis the Australian way, and I was probably dropping too many S and F bombs. No C bombs, obviously, because you just wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't even do that on this podcast.
No car bombs.
No car bombs. No car bombs.
Right.
No Irish.
Bring me back.
Well, Irish car bomb. You introduced me to an Irish car bomb, which is that
Guinness or something.
The Jaeger and a Guinness. Is that it? Jaeger and a Guinness?
Maybe.
I don't know. Whatever it was, it fucked me up, and I wasn't going to have a second one. But I was dropping too many swears, right? And then Trav gives me this look like, you want to reel it in a bit. When you say fuck 3 times in a sentence.
I agree. I did it once too at a big conference, and got the feedback afterwards. You don't, one of those guys probably don't take the feedback on then anyway. Probably unhealthy ego at that point, but I was dropping it too much. 1 or 2, maybe they're in the right context in our industry, whatever. But if too much. So what happened?
Nothing. But it was basically that self-realization where I was like, you know, when you think that we just completely improv that. I had nothing planned to say. I was like, no one needs to really twist my arm too much to talk about the business. Yeah. I'm happy to get up in front of anybody and start just boom, going flat out, right? But at that point, I was probably riffing on my own shit a bit too much and not being conscious of the actual audience that was there. Thinking, geez, I'm fucking killing it. And then Trevor's looking at me like, dude, you're swearing a lot. I'm like, oh, shit. But, that's life, right?
It happens.
Yeah. So if you had to describe our relationship in 3 words in 2017 and then 3 words now, what would they collectively be?
Right.
I'll go first.
You go for it.
2017. Wild.
Yep.
Funny.
Yeah.
Brash.
Yes. I'd say...
You can do now.
Yeah, I'd say... funny, adventurous in the best possible way, and I don't know, like maybe like gratitude or growth. Growth probably come from me. Yeah, I think I grew a lot during that period. I think you maybe hadn't met someone like me in that regard. We both sort of complemented each other, and we both found people that understood us. Yeah, and I haven't answered the second part yet.
I think that's why it's important to hunt in packs in sales. Yeah. Because, it doesn't matter who kills it, right? It just matters that it dies.
Yeah. So, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you keep the freight going, though. Yeah. As long as you keep the trucks on the road,
Freight on truck.
Agentic AI.
Hashtag.
But I think what I find with us is like we accept each other how we are, and that's something I've got better at over the journey. Is like I know now a lot of my rough edges, if not sharp edges. I've been told over the years, and I've become accustomed to now accepting others the same. So now I try to accept everyone as they are, because I know that I'm not perfect. I think that's one thing we both realize is like you could fully be yourself around me, and I can be fully myself around you and do silly things, and we both do things probably that we both go, I wouldn't do it that way. Yeah. At the same time, we go, that's who we are. We live fully, authentically us. And I was listening to an audiobook the other day. It was around holidays. Discipline is destiny. It said, be calm with yourself. No discipline with yourself, but calm. Tolerant of others, but not so much of yourself. Strict on yourself, but tolerant of others. And if I look back, on that period when we met, I was very strict on myself as well, and I was always wanting to improve. But over a period there where I kind of became unhealthy and had unhealthy ways of thinking, unhealthy relationships with alcohol, as mentioned earlier. Probably let unhealthy ego come in and start pointing the finger at others more than where I could improve, even though others were trying to hold a mirror up to me, and every time they did, I'd smash it. And for now, I'd say our relationship has changed in even better because we're a lot calmer, I'd say. Still bold, but a lot more like family orientated. I think you're one of the best dads I've probably ever met. I mean that. Right. Your daughter's absolutely beautiful and really, really funny. And she's
cut from the cloth.
Yeah. And, she sits in the middle between my son and daughter, and long may it continue. So
I think mine would be, I know I said 3 words, but I'm going to use 2 words for one, is mutual respect.
Yeah.
I think that definitely I have a lot of, like those early days when you were jumping up on stage at the SCAA and doing all that shit, I was like, fuck, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah.
Because not from an anxiety perspective or ability perspective, but I just couldn't be fucked. Like doing the whole, like you're doing so much for so many others.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a lot of people that have taken from the Matt Sheen train or the Kyle train over the journey, which is fine. Another one would be support. And then probably the last one, mate, which, don't blush, but probably love. Because I do love you. And I always wish you the best. And I think that
it's unconditional. It's like a lot of things say that can't, some people can't do that. But I think with us, like no matter what, people that I know I could call, there's that, as Nick, one of the members of one of us, Nick Longo, was at an event with us recently, and he said you're balcony people. So
spoke to him not long ago.
People you can that's a good one. People you can look up to that'll like be there unconditionally, that you could call in the middle of the night and ask them for something, or come pick me up. I'm in Sydney, I'm cooked, I'm in a jail, I'm in a cell, or I'm underground, or I'm over here. It could come bail me out. It's good to have those people. And I think what we've maybe realized, I'm speaking for you here and weigh in as you will, is like as I've matured, I hope I've realized that at the end of the day, I came so close to death. So did my son. My father's passed. We're here for such a short period of time in the grand scheme of life, right? Humans have, evolution, millions, billions of years, and what's to come in the future with technology. I think it's just, be yourself. Yeah. I've put too much emphasis on what people think. Of course, you got to do that. But I think over the last 6 months, and this is my first engagement of anything really this year, I had to give back because I took so much from myself, but more importantly, I took so much from my wife, my kids, for the first sort of 10 years here in Australia. And it's able to give that back and watch my kids grow up. It's hard to see it at the moment, but working with specialists to say, they'll look back and they'll remember that.
Yeah, for sure.
World Cup's on. People are like, what are you doing recently, Kyle? Watching the World Cup, but that's just a cop-out for...
you're watching it when we're at the start of the McGregor fight. Like, turn that shit off, mate. Who cares? And you were so engrossed.
Yeah, but the first time ever... I think that the top 4 in the semi-finals. So
no Ronaldo though.
No Ronaldo.
I would have loved to see Ronaldo, Messi.
Yeah,
but I also find it incredibly hard for those who have grown up in Australia and played AFL their entire lives. Soccer is such a hard sport to watch because someone farts on them, they fall over and they act like they've broken their leg. It's mate, it's like cool. I can't do it. And then they act so tough as well. I'm like, mate, you would just roll.
You're paid so much money as well,
which is crazy to me. Don't get me wrong, they're freakish. Like when they strike a ball and it fucking curves around, I'm like, shit, that's pretty impressive.
We always had this thing in school growing up that if anyone's ever watched Gaelic or hurling, how unbelievably fast it is and how skilled it is. It's an amateur sport that can play in front of 80,000. But imagine having that worldwide. It's just unbelievable. But
mental, as you'd say.
World Cup's great, but unfortunately Ireland never seemed to get in it. It's another thing, I suppose, with businesses, because everything's businesses now, almost like countries as well with their GDP. But Ireland have two countries almost in one: Northern Ireland soccer team, Republic of Ireland soccer team. But then in rugby union, they play together, and they're one of the best in the world. I think if they could just amalgamate, obviously there's a lot of political issues among many, but amalgamate teams, they might get in the World Cup. Yeah, but unfortunately not.
Unlucky. So, mate, thank you. That's episode 1. Like, put a pin in it. I think for the first one, it always was going to feel a bit rough. But for me, I don't know about you, but it felt pretty organic.
No,
so good. For everyone that tuned in, thank you.
We didn't mention Stocked and Loaded.
Oh,
we were shooting
we can do the intro. later.
We were shooting the shit, and we was trying to come up with something where like my careers ended up being more heavily involved with warehousing and 3PL. I'd say 60-70% of it, and Matt's more in the freight transport, domestic distribution side of the world.
And I've seen you loaded so many times.
Yes, true. Loading trucks, you mean?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And stocked and loaded, so something around warehousing and something around loading transport trucks,
right.
and trying to find that balance between personal and professional.
And so what do they do at the end of...
So if anybody has got anything out of this episode,
Like,
please like
come
and subscribe.
subscribe my channel, Dr. Beast. Is it Dr.
Like
Beast?
us,
No,
please.
Mr. Beast.
Please like
Mr.
Dr. Beast.
That's a good name.